Ozzy. Careful, sorry.
I'll tell you later. This will be fun. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome. Let's join together with music and sing together just like this. Yeah, nine, 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 nine. Yeah, nine, 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 nine. Yeah, nine, 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 nine. All your voices, please. Yeah, yeah, nine, 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 nine. Yeah, nine, 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 nine. Yeah, nine, 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 nine. Yedidai, nine, 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 nine. Yedidai, nine, 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 nine. Yedidai, nine, 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 nine. Yedidai, nine, 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 nine. Yeah, nine, nine, nine. Yeah, nine, 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 nine. Yeah, nine, 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 nine. Yeah, nine, 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 nine. Shabbat Shalom. Good to see you all. Oh, it's so wonderful to be here. Happy New Year, everyone. Let us join together, please, like this. Yanai, 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 yanai. Yanai, 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 yanai. Yanai, 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 yanai. Yanai, 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 yanai. Yanai, 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 yanai. Yanai, yanai. Yanai, 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 yanai. Yanai, 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 yanai. Yanai, 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 yanai. Yanai, 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 yanai. Yanai, 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 yanai. Yanai, 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 yanai. Yanai, 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 yanai. Ai, 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 yanai, yanai, yanai. Yanai, yanai. Yanai, 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 yanai. Yanai, 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 yanai. Yanai, 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 yanai.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is so good to be here with you together. Thank you for braving the snowflakes that are falling from the sky, but we get to create warmth together in this sanctuary. So, as we wish a Shabbat Shalom to each other, turn to someone who's sitting in your general vicinity who you didn't come here with and offer them a Shabbat Shalom. Say hello, introduce yourselves if you don't know each other.
Shabbat Shalom.
Beautiful. Beautiful. It's feeling warmer in here already. This Shabbat we are reading from Parshat Vayechi, which the very last parsha in the book of Genesis, and it is filled with blessings. Many different people offering blessings to each other, blessings of all kinds. Some of them feel really nice, positive, blessing-like, and some of them are even a little bit tricky. And it's a beautiful reminder that each one of us has something unique and special a blessing that we bring into this community and into this space. And so we are so blessed by you, by having you as part of our Temple Beth Elohim community in this Shabbat. And so we will proceed to offering blessings together and to the divine. And so we are grateful for each one of your voices for the blessing that you bring to us.
Are we preparing for candles? I suppose we are. We're preparing for candles, and Rabbi Sissenwein and I are just coming from my office where we said Shabbat Shalom to the rest of our community on Zoom. But we do have some special guests in the house tonight that we were hoping we might invite up to light candles on behalf of our community. So Rabbi Sherman and Leah and Nava and Elsie and Ozzy, if you're here, would you come help us kindle the Shabbat light?
From vacation, all the way from Chicago.
We brought you some
Welcome back
snow.
to TBE. It's great to have you back.
Let's join together. We can all bring the light toward us as we share in these sacred words. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
So I just want to say it is good to have the esteemed senior rabbi of BCBE of Deerfield, Illinois in our midst, but even more so to have Leah and the kids back at TBE. We're really glad to see you. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Let's continue together as I give hugs real soon. Page 142.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seidchem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Are you inviting forward my Lechadodi buddy?
I was, but
He might refuse.
it's his day off. It's Shabbos.
But we do have some other friends who might want to join
We
for
might.
Lechadodi. They're saying no. They're saying no. Are they saying no? Okay. Let's join together as one community as we greet the Sabbath presence with words of Lechadodi. Page 138. Sorry, Rabbi.
He's good enough.
Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad Hishmi'anu el hamiuchad Adonai echad U'shemo echad L'shem u'tiferet v'litila lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela Likrat Shabbat levunecha Yihi mekol haracha merosh tikedem Nesucha sofa aseh lemachshavat tchila Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi Likrat kala, Likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela Stanza 5 Hitoreri Ki ba'orech Kumi uri Shir daveri Kavod Adonai Alayich nigla Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi Likrat kala, Likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela
If you're able, we all rise and face the rear of the sanctuary as we welcome in the Shabbat into our hearts, into our souls. Come in gladness, come in joy. Enter. Let us open our hearts and receive.
Toch emunei am segula boi chala olecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela olecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Page 146. Our call to worship.
Am I awake?
Am I prepared?
Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake?
responds, Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed, Le'olam Va'ed. Let's be seated.
We continue on page 150 with the words of Ahavat Olam, the love that God has for each and every one of us and our whole community.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta.
It's a little bit new, but that melody repeats. Let's try it together.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Al Kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shocheinu u'meinu nasiach bechukecha v'nizmach b'divrei toratecha u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed.
We feel God's love for us when we engage in deeds of love and caring, deeds of Torah.
Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Once more, Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta.
Continue with the words of Shema on page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please join with me, page 154.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך, בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך. וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Page 158, standing on the parted shores, our people sang the song of freedom together in rejoicing.
Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Let's try that again. We're going to do that one more time. Same melody now with the Hebrew. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot aseh pelet, nora tehilot aseh pelet. I'm not sure if there's a next slide, but we're gonna, yes, here we go. Moshe ומרים, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, יאללה לי, יאללה לי, יאללה לי, יאללה לי, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה לה. ונאמר כי פרע אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
In our Torah this week, we learn that Israel in perpetuity is to be blessed through the names of Ephraim and Manasseh, the sons of Joseph. And the rabbis teach us that the reason it's these two
that we bless our children in their names every Shabbat is because it is the first pair of siblings in the book of Genesis who don't fight.
We're not
And
related.
so we pray that that love and understanding continues in our community as we turn to page 161.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkiveinu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkiveinu, Leshalom. V'ha'amideinu, Shomreinu Lechayim. Ufros aleinu, Sukkot Shlomecha. Hashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu Shalom. Hashkiveinu Adonai, Shalom. Once more all together. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Asher Koach. Thanks, Asher. So we've arrived at the center of our prayer service, the part that asks us to open up our lips and declare some praises. So for anybody who's got any praises online, on Zoom, please put them in our chat box. Share them with everyone so they can see exactly what's going on. And for those of us in the sanctuary, let's hold them very close to our hearts as we rise together as one community in body or in spirit. And join together on page 164. Adonai Sifatai Tiftach. Adonai Sifatai Tiftach. Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha. Adonai Sifatai Tiftach. Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha. Open up our lips so we may praise your name. Open up our hearts so we can feel our pain. Open up our souls to let our love make us whole. And we will praise.
We will pray.
We will praise your name. Adonai Sifatai Tiftach. V'yagi Tehilatecha. Adonai, Sifatai Tiftach. Ufiagi Tehilatecha.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lima'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol Atah Rav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach umhorid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umidom elach, Melech meimit umechayeh umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol, atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh,
Ukdoshim b'chol yom ya'alhu chasela.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Ha'el
HaKadosh.
Now take our own time for our own private Amidah, either from the words of our Siddur or from the words of our heart. When you're finished, you may be seated. We invite you to join us on page 178. A prayer that asks for an abundant amount of peace. Lots and lots of peace. So as we enter into Shabbat, let us join together with these words to manifest some of that peace. Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim leolam. Ki hatahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki hatahu melech adon shalom, shalom rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam.
We now turn to page 371 to think of those who are in need of a Misha Berach. Whether healing of mind, healing of body, or healing of spirit, as long as you're thinking of someone and holding them in your hearts. In the building, I invite you to please rise so you can share their names to one of our clergy. On Zoom, please flood the chat with those names so we can keep them in our hearts as we say these sacred words of prayer. So for all those names we say out loud, for all those names in the chat, and for all those who we keep in our heart's closest place, let's join together and say these words of sacred prayer, wishing a refuah shlema to all those in need.
Misheperach avoteinu mekor habracha leimoteinu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheperach imoteinu mekor habracha lavoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
And of course, each Shabbat we give thanks for the sacred moments we've shared during the past week, those God-given times like birthdays or anniversaries or firsts, lost teeth, new life. So any Shechianu moments this past week? Please. medical miracles and healing a member of our congregation coming through surgery well. Please. A new Mazel Tov, a new granddaughter. Mazel Tov. Anyone else? Please, Nana. A big trip into a foot of into a pile of snow. Yes, Ed.
This is, to me at least, a very holy moment. Let me just backtrack to say, up till COVID, with all the many years of volunteering I've done in the Greater Boston community, my Postmates life, I did get to know Governor Baker and his wife, Laura. Went to the State House Tuesday with a 2-page letter, which should have been written back in court. Went back Wednesday, he and his wife, Lieutenant Governor Leo and her husband, came down the stairs. I was practically one of the very first people. Mrs. Baker walked by me. I said, Mrs. Baker, Ed Sharp. She said, I know who you are. I said, you are the greatest first lady our state ever had. And then the governor came over to me, shook my hand, he said, I received your letter, Ed. I don't know how to remember my name. Yesterday, I said, Governor, thank you, thank you, thank you. And as I saw him go down the way to Gold Star Families, that Rabbi Sisson-Wine fellow congregants, that was a true holy moment.
Beautiful. So Ed has a way. Ed has a way of acknowledging the beauty in others, and his Shehechianu moment was being acknowledged by the beauty in him, by the governor. So for all of these things, I want to say also a new year, 2023. Raise your hand if you remember Y2K and just celebrating 2000. Yeah, it's been a while. Raise your hand if you still have stuff in your basement like water or something. Batteries from Y2K. It's time to throw them out. It's 2023. So for another year and for all of these blessings, let's give thanks. Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. We say Amen together.
A special treat this evening for our teaching. Our tradition teaches us that each of us learn Torah from the place that our heart desires. I also believe that each of us has the ability to act, but sometimes it takes each of us a special kind of inspiration in order to be able to do so. That, to me, is what sums up our friend and our congregant, Karen Tabb, who has the ability to experience Torah from a place that her heart desires and to do something with it in a way that compels and inspires others. So we have had a sculpture in our courtyard since the end of October. Many of you have walked by it and you have said, "What is this?" It's kind of like on Passover where we do something in order that you might ask a question. And that's a little bit what we have done, is put this sculpture here, and we haven't yet had the opportunity to discuss it. Tonight is the perfect evening. It is lit up. The snow is falling around it, and it looks a little bit serene. But Karen is here this evening to teach us about its story, to share a little bit of her own. I know that we will not only learn from her, but I pray also be inspired by her as well. So come on forward, Karen. And here is your clicker for the slides. Let's make sure that we can hear you first, and you can start it whenever you want.
Okay, thank you. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. So I'm honored to be sharing with you tonight my work with you, and most importantly, for the honor of having my sculpture live in the backyard or the courtyard, front courtyard of my spiritual home. As an artist, and some of you are in the art world, you know this question very well. I often get asked questions like, were you always an artist? No. Did you love art in school? No. What is your inspiration? I have no idea. How do you know when you're finished a piece? Well, any artist here will tell you that that is the million-dollar question. And how do you feel if people don't like or criticize your work? Well, Kevin will tell you I might cry. What are you currently working on? So these are questions that I get many and often and many of. The funny thing is, I was not always an artist. In fact, I came to art very late in my life, only about 9 years ago, after a very long career in the nonprofit world, both in Israel, where I grew up, and in the US. And I never held a paintbrush until 9 years ago. So I do wonder, how did this happen? How did I end up an artist today? And it took me a very long time to claim the idea or say that I am an artist, because I never went to art school. And you actually cannot be a doctor without going to medical school. So I do, as do many artists, sometimes have an imposter syndrome. I often reflect on the critical biographical elements that brought me to Boston at the right time in my life, enabling me to become a Jewish artivist. And you heard that right, an artivist. An artivist is an artist who uses their work to encourage activism. I have a few memories of my beloved maternal grandfather, Harry. He died before my 7th birthday, but I remember how much I loved sleeping over at my grandparents' house in Johannesburg. When Grandpa Harry tucked me into bed, he would recite the Shema with me together while covering our eyes. At the time, I did not understand Hebrew and had no idea what I was saying. But I always felt this wave wash over and envelop me, causing me some form of heart palpitations. What was the sensation, and why was it so awesome? As an adult, I feel that same sense of awe wash over me when I hear the shofar at the conclusion of Yom Kippur, or when the Ark is opened to reveal the 5 Torah scrolls nestled in the beautiful wooden Ark right behind me. As I scan the scrolls, the same text given to Moses on Mount Sinai, I see the history, pain, and triumph of our people. I see the slavery in Egypt, where we built the pyramids block by block. I see our expulsion from Jerusalem under the mighty hand of the Romans. I see the Spanish Inquisition and the expulsion of the Jews under King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. But perhaps most vividly, I see the pogroms against my grandfather in Lithuania in the late 1800s, and the death of 6 million Jews, including of my own family, in the Nazi gas chambers in the 1940s. As I watch these Torah scrolls brought out week after week from the Ark for our congregation to see and read from, I feel a sense of calling and urgency to work every day for my own people, but for all people. This felt sense of duty has long been with me. It is rooted not only in my Jewish identity, but in my personal history as an immigrant. I was born in apartheid South Africa. My favorite person in the world was my black nanny, Christina, who lived in a little room in our backyard. My family, while not supporting apartheid, most definitely benefited from the system. I was raised from the age of 8 on a farm in Israel, working on a moshav alongside Arabs from Gaza when that still was possible, and recent new immigrants to Israel. I became very comfortable with people of all walks of life from a very young age. And now, having lived in the US for the last 22 years, immersing myself in her politics and trying to do my part by working in a variety of nonprofits like Artists for Humanity or My New Red Shoes. Through my studio practice, it has become clear to me that art can catalyze engagement and activism. My aim when I create is to use my art and voice as a vehicle for conversations that transform bystanders into activists. I want to create art that asks difficult questions, makes room for difficult conversations, and hopefully inspires viewers to take action. As I begin to give a visual representation to an idea or a question I am contemplating, I often look to my Jewish roots and the beautiful Jewish surrealistic objects that are full of history and meaning for inspiration. One such object I have long been fascinated with is the tzedakah box, right here. I'm drawn to the notion of tzedakah, charity, but even more so to the root of the word tzedek, which means justice. What does justice mean, and what does it mean to put justice into our action? The kavanah, the intent, interests me. For my 2021 solo exhibition, Humanity is Not a Spectator Sport, I created 2 tzedakah boxes right here that I dedicated to 2 women who have inspired me in countless ways. The one on the left for Ruth Messinger, the former director of the American Jewish World Service, and the one on the right for Clementina Cherry, the founder of the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute, who has been here and spoken to the congregation before. During one of my conversations with Ruth about the creation of a tzedakah box in her honor, Ruth shared a long-held vision of a large-scale tzedakah box installed outside the MoMA, made out of plexiglass, that said, change. A play on words both for giving change and making change. That conversation was all it took to transform the notion into a nationwide public art initiative, which kicked off this past summer. Be the Change is an artivism movement consisting of works of public commissioned art in 3 cities across the US by 18 artists, each artist addressing social justice issues close to them. This incredible multi-city program was created in partnership with the Jewish Arts Collaborative in Boston. As one of the 18 artists and as the co-curator for the project, I searched for a cause that was authentic and meaningful to me. There are many causes I care about: homelessness, women's rights, racial justice, hunger, to name a few. But one issue that tugged at me more than others was the rise in anti-Semitism and hate crimes. It pulled at my heartstrings because it was personal. It's about you, it's about me. Anti-Semitism is now the most accepted form of racism. The sculpture I created, the one outside in the courtyard, is titled Prisoner A7713, Anti-Semitism equals Racism equals Hate. The title references the number tattooed on the arm of Holocaust survivor Elie Wiesel when he arrived at Auschwitz. The sculpture takes the form of a human heart on a coffin-like box. The heart is constructed of fencing material. In my mind's eye, I saw the famous photo of Jews behind fences of concentration camps, of children in cages on the southern border. I used liquid cement to paint the arteries surrounding the heart, representing how a heart becomes calcified with hate. The red yarn threading in and out of the fencing is the connective tissue that holds the piece together. The yarn, painted blood red, references all that connects us. A dear friend of ours, a Lebanese cardiac surgeon at the BI, told me as I was preparing to create a structure of a heart that having actually held many hearts in his 2 hands, he's realized that at the end of the day, they're all the same. We actually all bleed the same red. The heart sits upon a concrete base that takes a coffin-like form of an ancient sarcophagus. This tomb is plastered with rough, cold cement, embodying a harsh grayness of brutalism. The coffin-like structure has embedded in it names of hate crime victims throughout our American history, such as George Floyd or Matthew Shepard. On the front, a yellow star references what Jews were forced to wear during the Holocaust as a way of marking, dehumanizing, and labeling us as the other. The piece sat in the Fenway area for 3 months. I dared to put a yellow star, make a claim that anti-Semitism is racism on a public street in a busy neighborhood in Boston. It is high time that we claim in public spaces that anti-Semitism is racism. While installing the artwork in Fenway, covered in concrete and paint, I had 2 incredible experiences an hour apart that bring tears to my eyes. From the corner of my eye, I saw an elderly woman approach and stand looking at the piece for a very long time. Being the chatty person that I am, I asked her if she had any questions because, as it so happens, I knew the artist. She asked me to explain the piece and title. While telling her, her eyes welled up with tears, and she said, "My husband survived Auschwitz. He had a number tattooed on his arm. When the troops came to liberate the camps, Eisenhower told them to take lots of photos because one day people will deny this ever happened. And now look," she said, "Eisenhower was right. Thank you," she said, "for doing this." We hugged, and she went away. Less than an hour later, and I kid you not, an elderly woman approached me with the same question. "What am I doing?" she asked. She proceeded to tell me that she was a young child in Paris during the war, and her family got displaced all over France. Her mother's family never came home. Both of us overwhelmed with tears, she thanked me for not letting our story die. So as I continue to push myself to work in ways that will have impact and meaning, that's me, dirty and wet with paint. As I continue to push myself to work in ways that will have impact and meaning, it has become clear to me that my work is never ending. Every time I finish a new piece that feels meaningful, I'm reminded of where the urgency comes from. I remember my grandpa, Harry. Recently, very recently, I came to learn of his involvement rescuing orphaned children during the Holocaust, helping them to cross from the south of France into the Pyrenees Mountains to safety and new homes. Perhaps he even helped the lady who stopped by my sculpture in the Fenway. Now when I remember him reciting the Shema with me, I think also of the other children whose lives he impacted. I think of his work to fight for justice, and I feel my own urgency to act all the more strongly. I suppose, then, it is no coincidence that I became an artivist. After all, it was he who taught me to listen for the spiritual calling that guides me today. Tomorrow, our congregation's newest Bnei Mitzvah, Levi and Sophie, will be reading from Parashat Vayechi, the life of Jacob. On his deathbed, Jacob made his sons take action on his behalf, promising to carry his body from Egypt to his burial site in the land of Israel, once again forever connecting us to the land of Israel. And tonight, on what would have been my parents' 60th anniversary, and on the second anniversary of the Capitol Hill insurrection, I look out on the courtyard at my art, which connects my past, present, and future, and realize the story is not about finding art. The story is about finding voice, a conviction and a call to action. As we begin 2023, I ask you, what will be your call to action? I hope it includes standing up for the other. For today in America, we are the other once again. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Yasher Koach, Karen, don't go anywhere. We thought the best way to honor your charge and your words would be to have you join us as we open the Ark for Aleinu. So let us all rise as we turn to page 586 before our open Ark with the living waters of our Torah as our inspiration and as our call to action.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
As we conclude, we remember those who have gone before us, those whose yard sites, whose anniversary of their death we mark and remember this week, and those who we have lost most recently. If you're joining us on Zoom, we invite you to place the name of your loved ones in our chat. If you are here with us in person, we invite you to rise, and please share the name of your loved one aloud. And we remember those members of our community who passed in this month: Marjorie Benditson, Helen Rubin, Jules Sack, Eleanor Sandler. And we have been asked to read the yard sites of Rose Freeman, Milton Metzger, Maxwell Morton, Nathan Sable, Ruth Sherman, and Joseph Weinberger. Let us rise now as a community in support of our mourners as we turn to page 598. Let's join together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru.
Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevarach Le'alam Ulanei Almaya.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithalev v'yithalal Shmei Dekudesha Brichu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehi Shalom Rabba min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Oseh Shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Yaseh Shalom. Yaseh Shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom. Yaseh Shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Let's be seated for just a brief moment for some words of announcement. Looking for someone who's better equipped to say the announcements than I am. I am going to say that this list is several pages long, so please check your Temple e-blast to read what is coming up. I will say that we begin commemorating the life of MLK beginning next week, Monday, January 9th in the evening. We welcome Joseph Rosenblum with us to discuss his recent book, Redemption, Martin Luther King Jr.'s Last 32 Years.
Should be a really great event, a very interesting one. So please mark your calendar. That's this Monday, not Martin Luther King weekend,
Correct.
but the week before.
We're going to begin next week. Exactly. Check the e-blast for a lot of other wonderful. We have amazing singer-songwriter Jacob Spike Krause coming not this next Shabbat, but the one after. We'll also be remembering Martin Luther King on that Shabbat as well. So we are ready to invite.
Well, what we're going to do actually is conclude with Adon
Olam
Olam
first.
But if Sophie and Levi want to be on deck, meaning you're ready to come help us lead Kiddush in just a minute, I invite everyone to please rise, and let's join with these words of Adon Olam on page 625. Adon Olam Hashem Allah, B'terem kol yitzir nivra, V'yev nasa v'cheso kol, Azai melech shemo nikra, V'yacharei kilot hakol, Levado imloch nora, V'hu haya, V'hu hoved, V'hu yeh, V'zivara, V'hu echad, Ve'ein sheni, Ve'hamshilo le'havira, Ve'li reshit, Ve'li tachtit, Ve'lo ha'oz, Ve'hamizrach, Ve'hu eli, Ve'chai go'ali, Ve'sor chevli, Ve'yetzara, Ve'hu nisi, Umanos li, Ve'nakosi, Ve'yom ekra, Ve'yado afiruchi, Ve'yetishan ve'ayira, Ve'mitruchi yeviati, Adonai li, Ve'lo ira.
We have very full Kiddush cups for the two of you, so I'll ask you to lift them high. Why don't you start us off in the words of Kiddush? Ready? Echad, shtayim, shalosh. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, be'ahava uvratzon, hinchil Maaseh Bereshit, Ki hu yom tehila lamikra'e kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, Ki vanu v'acharta ve'otanu chidashta mikol ha'amim b'shabbat kodeshecha be'ahava u'ratzon hinchaltanu. Lift them nice and high.
Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. L'chaim.
You get the sip, just juice. It's very full. Okay, Levi's gonna do the honors. Just juice, right? Okay. When you hesitated, you scared me.
Would you like to uncover our challah? Okay. All right. All right, and Rabbi, let's have the microphone. We'll have Sophie begin our Baruch, our blessing for the Motzi. I'll help you, okay?
All we need is a Baruch, Sophie.
2, 3.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avot. You get the first bite for us.
Me?
If you would
And
like
as
one.
you are completing the mitzvah, let's all join together with a hearty Mazel
Mazel
Tov.
Tov.
We know you're going to be amazing tomorrow.
Lai 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 lai. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom.
Thank you.
Shabbat shalom.
Oh, yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, I think so too.